Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. And what a crazy week it has been. Before I get into the November Korea real estate stats that just got released yesterday, let's get into this week's news. So as everybody probably already knows, not only did the finance minister quit this week, but the housing minister quit also the same day, which is just insane. So what's happening is the government is spinning out of control. They're collapsing. They can't keep the budget in order. Things aren't good. These guys didn't quit just because they don't like their job or because, the prime minister was disagreeing with them. They quit because things are so bad, they want out, and they don't want to be left to take the blame. So here it is, housing minister. Another liberal jumps Trudeau's sinking ship. Federal housing minister Sean Fraser, who oversaw skyrocketing housing prices, has quit. And yes, our housing market is in shambles, and this guy just gave up on it. So yeah, pretty crazy there. Now, while we're on the subject of housing and affordable housing, Trudeau just released this video. I think it was posted before, but regardless, he posted it again on December 13th. We're making it easier to build another home on your property with low-interest loans of up to $80,000.
We're here in Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia, and this home belongs to Art and Joan. It is a two-bedroom home with energy-efficient design and accessibility features as well. Now, what's interesting about this place, it's not a traditional single-family home at all. This is a backyard suite. You see, Art and Joan lived in this community for 57 years, and when they ran into certain concerns that demanded more accessible housing options, they approached their daughter, Deborah, who lives in the home behind me, to ask whether they could actually build a home on the same lot. Now, these homes have different names. Some people call them secondary suites, garden suites, backyard suites, accessory dwelling units, but what's most important is people like Art and Joan get to call this place home. We want to make it easier for more families to embrace innovative housing solutions like this, which is why we put forward a new low-cost loan worth $80,000. We believe these kinds of ideas can help solve the housing crisis, and we want to make it easier for you to embrace the solutions that we know exist.
Okay, so solutions like living in someone's backyard is going to solve the housing crisis. This is what they've resorted to: loan you $80,000 at low cost, build a garden suite or a bunkie in the back of your family's yard, and this is going to help solve the housing crisis. Obviously, this is why the guy quit, because these are the solutions they came up with. One other thing on that topic is that we were supposed to have our catalog of home designs in the fall of this year, 2024. Now, winter is the 17th today, so winter's coming in just a few days, and we don't have this pre-made catalog of homes like they did in the wartime era that this minister promised. But maybe, just like Chrystia Freeland not presenting the budget, he's not going to present this catalog either. Again, I don't think this is going to save the housing industry in Canada, but it would have been nice to have seen what they had come up with. And next we have Jagmeet Singh blaming AI and big corporations for buying up apartments and driving up rents here. So he said, connect the dots. 1, big corps buy up apartments. 2, AI is used to increase rent. And 3, their CEOs donate to conservatives. There's no proof on this. This is just claims by him here. Result, you pay, they get rich, conservatives get donations. So anyway, he says rents are being driven up by AI, which brings us to our next article. From realestatemagazine.ca, average rent in Canada declined to $21.39 in November, marking a 15-month low, according to the latest national rent report. And I'm going to have more on that rental price in just a minute with the national stats. But so he's claiming AI is driving up rents, but at the same time, rents are coming down and are at a 15-month low. And just a few other posts I found really interesting in the last week or so. Someone said that housing starts strength is tied to home price strength. Check out this chart. It seems to show that. Anyone got any good ideas on how to reverse this, like make housing starts tick up while prices decelerate? And I think I've correlated this before in a previous video on my channel, but as you can see in there, the home prices in the green and the red bars, the bar chart, and the line chart there is the housing starts. And of course, as prices increase, housing starts increase also, which makes sense. And this is the Canadian data here. I can see it on the side, the SAAR. And of course, when prices decrease and price declines, prices decelerate, housing starts go with them. So yeah, it's a very well-known phenomenon. Of course, builders are making money, prices are going up, they're going to build more homes. And when they're not making money, prices are going down, they're not going to build, they can't afford to build. So of course, yes, starts are going down and prices are going down too, which prices probably lead one, but it's hard to say. But they both go in the same direction at the same time, which makes sense. Now, this next chart is pretty cool. This is for the people who think prices always go up. Well, check this one out. If you ever have a bad day, remember that there are actual real-life human beings who bought real estate in 2007 in Edmonton and lost money selling 16 years later in 2023. And you can see there the first line on the left is 2007, where people bought at the peak in Edmonton. I think there was a big oil boom back then too. And yeah, look at 2023 here. They're actually selling for less, the houses. And of course, they did reach a new high this year. Now, this is an index or a composite index here. I don't like those as much as I do average prices, but it's still representative of overall price trends over the time. So yeah, prices don't always go up, or sometimes they do, and they take a long time to recover after they've gone down. So that's a pretty interesting chart there. And I know that I've heard from many people that, yeah, in Edmonton and Alberta in general, yeah, prices did sit stagnant for a long period of time at certain points in the economy and the cycle. And a little bit of good news here from Dan. Toronto just issued me a building permit in less than 22 hours. Our personal best. Real estate is effed. So yeah, they're issuing permits quick because nothing's happening out there. And yeah, I'd like to know what the fees were included with that permit and the development fees and whatnot. If it was a development, it could have been an addition. But yeah, good sign there. Seems like the cities are getting off their butts and getting things in gear. And Michael something. Uncle works for a busy lumber yard in Fraser Valley, literally selling zero lumber, getting by on selling nails and PVC. 40 years in the business, said he's never seen it so bad. Of course, nobody's building, lumber's down, they don't need the lumber, so yeah, I guess they're selling nails and PVC for whatever reason. And before I get into the Korea stats, I just want to do a quick note on my home buying recipe. I should have updated the falling rates. It should be a full battery bar now. It should be totally full. So I will update that on my next video. All right, now let's get into the national statistics for November. Canadian home sales continue to climb in November. So yeah, things are taking off. The market's hot. Prices are going up. Let's see what they have to say here. Not only were sales up again, but with market conditions now starting to tighten up, November also saw prices move materially higher at the national level for the first time in almost half a year. Wow, prices are up, sales are up. Get out there and buy a house. Let's check out these statistics. All right, here are the total number of sales for all Novembers back to 2007. You can see here 2024 way up from the last 2 years. Not as high as the peak, but it looks like it's just about on average there. Just a little bit above average, actually. But yeah, sales are up for November. Now here's the sales for all months, looking at the long-term trend, again, back to 2007 as far as this data goes back. And you can see, yeah, it's pretty much average here. But to help you visualize it, I threw some circles on here, some ovals. So there we are, normal time. So we are in a normal time for sales. Pretty good. I like normal balanced times. I wish prices were lower, but yeah, those all the normal times, or the normal times there are circled, and you can see, yeah, the majority of times are normal. Now let's look at the abnormal times here. So not normal, right at the top there. Those sales in 2021, beginning of 2022, they were not normal. They were way above average. And regardless, and that's why prices were through the roof. The supply couldn't keep up with the demand. Recessions there. Look at what happens during a recession. They drop way down below here. The 2008, 2009, we had the recession there. The 2020 pandemic beginning. Of course, that was just a little blip of a recession, but it was a massive decrease in sales. And yeah, so when a recession hits, you see that those sales come way out of that normal range. So there it is again. Let's go back. Normal, not normal. So right now, the average price is $694,411. That is a 0.2% decline month over month. Wait, I thought he said prices were up. Maybe he's talking about the composite or the HPI index, not the average price. I like to use average price. So it is down $1,000 from October. Still not a bad November, I guess, if you're a seller. up 7.5% year over year, or $49,000 from last November 2023, and down 14.8% from the peak February 2022, or $121,000. Now, this bearish pennant is still playing out. Again, I put both the bearish and the bullish patterns on there. This is obviously a bearish pennant. It's still sticking right within that pennant pattern. So, yeah, it's playing out. And I don't see December breaking any records. So December and January will still decline into that. And we'll see what happens next year with all these politicians quitting. Again, things don't look good for the economy. It's on life support right now, and they're all fleeing the ship. So if you think things aren't headed in that direction, you should probably check your news sources. Now let's look at the supply, the months of inventory or supply here. So it is declined. So we are seeing a decline over the last 2 years, still a lot higher from 2020 and 2021, but a lot lower from the long-term trend there. You can see prior to 2020, there was always a lot more supply. So we've lost a little bit of supply. Again, this is for November. Now let's look at all the months of supply here. You can see, yeah, it's still trending a lot higher than it was at the peak of the housing market, but still lower than it was in previous years. So we still need to see that supply come online, but it is maintaining at the levels we've seen it at, which is a good thing for prices, not going through the roof as you've been promised by so many other realtors and industry professionals. Here are the average price compared to the months of supply. I show this chart all the time, and again, this is updated using the latest November data, and you can see there at the end on the right in the blue, the price kind of maintained and the supply actually dropped, but you can see that direct inverse correlation there. Supply goes up and prices come down, supply goes down, prices go up. That's how it works. Now on to the sales to new listings ratio. This, of course, measures how many sales compared to how many new listings. And looking at just November's there in the red, you can see clearly that we had a good November compared to the last 2 years, but not as high as even 2019, November 2019, of course, 2020 and 2021 were really high, but yeah, a little bit higher. We're currently sitting at about 59.2%, if my memory serves me correctly. Now, I want to highlight the years for the peak sales to new listings in each year. Now, this chart is very interesting because it shows the highest numbers for the sales to new listings ratio. So what was the biggest sellers market, I guess you could say, for the year in any given month for each of the previous years is included in this data. And of course, ours was November at 59.2%. This is as good as it gets for 2024. But when you go back to 2023, it was April. I think it was about 65%. So of course, it was a lot higher, that ratio, into sellers territory last November. And then when you get back to 2022, it was January. I think it was about 85 or 80 to 85% back then by the looks of it. So, of course, extreme sellers territory. Same with 2021, which is also January, extreme sellers territory back then too. And then you get back to 2020, still over 75%, probably 78, 79% or so. And that was in September 2020, they had their peak sales to new listings ratio. And then you get back to 2019, pre-pandemic, still up there for the highest month of the year was November also, but it was a lot higher than this November. So, of course, yeah, sales are up when the sales to new listings ratio is up. But when you look at the big picture, it's actually declining and the market is actually slowing or getting worse. Okay, let me just move my head here so we can see the numbers properly here. So this is the monthly mortgage payment on the average Canadian home. If you watch this channel, you know I talk about this and how much does it cost to afford the average home based on prime minus 1%. Actually, I think I forgot to update my headline there. And with a 20% down payment. And it is at prime minus 1, not prime rate. But regardless, it's over $3,000, about $3,100 a month for the average new home buyer to buy the average home with 20% down. Now, that's a good down payment, 20% at our current prime minus 1%. This was a chart I just posted on X this week. So out of that payment, same data here. Here I have the correct headline up there, prime minus 1%. You can see $24,000. $24,721 of that payment, of that $3,100 payment or so, goes to interest, just interest in the first year alone. So you're paying over $2,000 a month in interest. Still still way higher than it ever has been, right? Even in 2021, 2022, you can see before it really took off, you were paying like, $12,000, $13,000, $1,000, $1,100 a month in interest, which is kind of more on the normal range of things. So people are still getting fleeced with interest. This is not good for their long-term outlook, for their own financial benefit. But again, it's still way up there. It is coming down, so it's trending in the right way. So that is the good news. All right, on to the rent prices I told you I was going to talk about here. So you can see rent prices peaked, looks like this year or so, and they are declining. And this is not just a monthly thing. It's trending down. Some months are up, some months are down, but they're clearly declining. We reached the peak of rent. Now, when we compare those with the average mortgage payment data, you can see both are declining. So mortgage payments are coming down, rent's coming down. They're both coming down. So I would like to know how house prices are going to go up when you have everything else coming down. It just doesn't make sense. Trend is your friend. This supports the theory that housing, it will become more affordable, and it's trending in the right direction. So things are looking up for Canadian real estate, which is great news for potential would-be buyers and families looking to get into the market. We're not quite there yet, but things are happening and we're headed in the right direction. Although the government is a mess, it's probably better. We need to flush out the old system there, get rid of these guys, and get things working the way they should be. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments as always, and I'll see you in the next one.